Hi, everybody on YouTube. We are back once again after last night's brouhaha when it comes to UFOs. Well, you know what? What a better way to end the week, the first week of December, with our final show of the year with the legend, Ronald Keith Andrews, and the ET Connection. Yes, my friends, we are going on the Woo train tonight, and we also have Nicole Sakach back because Keith is technically working this next hour. And, you know, just in case Keith has to bail and take a phone call for work, Nicole will be here to back me up because I can't do this alone. No, I can't. I'm useless that way. But I'm teasing. But no, anytime you get somebody of Nicole's stature on with us, we have to take advantage of that because she is that damn good. Hi, Zachary. Welcome to tonight's show. Gorgeous Renee, good to see you. Cat Chaser, pleasure to have you here. Hi, Wreakin' Havoc. Thank you for coming on in. The Ronald Penton is here, everyone. The Ronald Penton. There he is. Wayland, boom to you, man. How you doing, brother? Todd Schultz, good to have you here. Yes, go surreal, Todd. Bee's Nest, thank you for coming on in. The gorgeous and talented Steph Dickey. Always a pleasure to have the Florida connection here. Amen to you, Pastor Keith. Love you, man. Northern UFOs, good to see you. Jason McDaniel, always a pleasure. Paul John Tavares, still waiting for his first Stanley Cup right there. Human Carl's here, everyone. Human Carl, one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show. Human Carl, we absolutely love you, brother. Thank you for everything that you've done for your country and for being awesome in our chat rooms, man. Chris Mo, good to have you here, my friend. Greg Moyes, Jim Morris, good to have you guys here. Appreciate you. Burrito, I'm hungry. Where's my burrito? The Jim Christie is here, everyone. The Jim Christie. Good to have you here, Jim. Thank you. And let's see here. Brett Lewis is here, everyone. Brett Lewis is here. Now we can officially start the show. Hey, Adam Lane, welcome back again. Thank you so much for trying us out for a second time. The first dip in the pool was so nice you had to try it twice. Aliens visit here? Where? Where's Carl? Where? Hey, video game player, good to have you back. Oh my gosh, look who it is, everyone. It's Ladybug Bigelow, Alaska's greatest athlete, joining us once again. You're looking stunning tonight, my friend. Block Chick Breed, where have you been? I bet you in front of the mirror wondering what lip gloss to use for this show tonight. Thank you. It's always a pleasure when you're here. Richard Elmore, good to have you here as well, my friend. Tammy Finnegan, hello, gorgeous Tammy. You know what we love? We love Tammy. That's what we love around here. Lord of Land, good to have you here, my friend. Thank you so much. Michael Morris, Cedric, Big J, always a pleasure to have you here. Michael Magnum, thank you for coming on in, man. Appreciate you. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, there he is. Let's give him a few of these because he likes it when we do this. I don't know why. Oh, my gosh. There she is, all the way from Brandon, Manitoba, the gorgeous and talented Manitoba Becky. Hey, Sally Vandevoord, how are you? You're here often, but you never in chat? Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you for coming on in. Hang out for a while. It's pretty good. Typical Skeptic, first time here. Thank you for joining us. I did not catch the Jacques Vallée, James Fox interview. That is something I'm planning on watching this weekend. It is. I think that's an important show. Apparently, there's a couple of good quotes in there. Hold on one second here, guys. I just want to check on something here. We are about 2 minutes away here, about 90 seconds or so. 90 seconds. Let's see here. All right, we're good. All right, Adam Robbins, good to have you here. Thank you for coming on in. R Keith Andrews and Nicole Sakach here for the ET Connection. Brian Bittner, good to have you here. Oob to Joe's Maine. You've got aliens, buddy. Yes, you do. Embrace those aliens. All right, let's start this feed. I may have to jump up and get some Tums. I got a little heartburn tonight. A little bit of heartburn. All right, we got 45 seconds before we're going to launch tonight's show. and it's going to be a gooder. It's gonna be a gooder. I can already tell you guys. Gonna be a gooder. All right, 30 seconds. A good way to support this show is give us a thumbs up or down. Do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button if you are brand new. Super Chat is open. You can also do a lot of shopping for your Christmas needs by going to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. That is our store. Adam Robbins, good to have you here. Oh, did I see a good Bigfoot video today? I just can't talk about it. All right, guys, here we go. 3 seconds. Of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Tonight we step onto the Woo train with both feet moving forward, and we take a ride on the ET Connection with R Keith Andrews, his final appearance of 2020. Keith is a lifelong experiencer who now uses his experiences to help counsel those who are going through their own experiences as well. Keith has been in contact with more than 50 ET species, according to his account, and we're going to get into it tonight with your questions. It's not a regular show here when we have Mr. Andrews on. No, what we like to do is we like to take your questions. We like to make sure that you have them in capital letters, so you have to be in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio to do so. We are also joined by Nicole Sakach because Keith is actually sneaking out of work to do this for the first hour. So just in case he's got to go back to work, we got Nicole there to help cover for him because she's pretty smart as well around here, and we like having her here. All right, R. Keith, good to have you back for the final time of 2020, my friend.
And great to be back.
Your hair
really appreciate the support from everybody.
Oh, man, everybody loves you, man. Everybody loves a little R. Keith Andrews action, and realistically, who could blame him? Who could blame him?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Nicole. How are you? You want to get in?
I'm back.
You want to get in early here?
I am. I'm back for SOR round 2, so I got to just say hi to everybody. And thanks for tuning in again.
You're making me.
And I'm excited. R. Keith launched his YouTube. I've been watching him for 2 weeks, and I missed you guys last month.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Absolutely. Now, Keith, for people who may be new to who you are, what's it like living a life of complete science fiction?
That's a good way to put it, because I really don't know what it's like to live a normal life, if you will. The sad reality of it is the standard things that people go through and seem to take for granted do not add up well for me. And of course, trying to get people to understand that is almost impossible. People go, yeah, that sounds really neat. It's not quite as much fun as you might think. Although it does eliminate the whole issue of worrying about whether or not you're going to worry about, prejudice of other people's, skin color, or whether they're taller than you, or, this sort of thing.
Well, the height part I worry about because I got ripped off. God couldn't even give me 5'9". I topped out at 5'8 3/4.
Yeah, you think you got it bad. I started when I got my license back when I was 18. I was 5'10 and a half. I'm now down to 5'7.
Well, that's because you got them giant pork chops for sideburns weighing you down.
Yeah, well, fortunately, they're not causing neck strain. No, the reality of it is living in a world that is so far off the beaten track, if you will. You do end up questioning whether you've actually lost your mind entirely, or whether or not you can function with it. But fortunately, I spent a lot of years talking to psychologists and psychiatrists trying to figure out how things were working. And they all told me the same thing when I asked, how do you know if you're losing your mind? All of them, students and professionals alike, said the same thing. They said, if you're asking if you're losing your mind, you're not. Because if you're losing your mind, you won't ask, because you won't know.
Nicole, I want to bring you in here because you are somebody who likes the real deep research side, but you're also a frequent flyer on the Woo train, or frequent rider on the Woo train as well, with your own personal experiences. When you see someone like Keith, who has so many stories out there that people absolutely love to critique, slam, insult, I mean, that's a lot of pressure on him as an experiencer yourself. How do you feel about hearing someone like Keith, who nobody will know what it's like to live in his shoes unless you do, and continually getting critiqued and criticized?
Oh, well, I think if I had as much contact going on as Keith does, I don't think honestly I could be in the public eye. Maybe right now in these times we're in, but as far as, lifelong, and as far as I can tell, I think Keith has always been pretty open about sharing these experiences. So, I mean, to lay it all out there year after year after year and face the ridicule, I don't really know if I could take it on that end, because honestly, I've been very blessed with the way that I've come out and really spoken about my own experiences. I haven't been faced head on with that kind of ridicule. I mean, I'm sure there's been bad comments or things here and there that I haven't read, but nobody in a chat room has just attacked me for sharing what I have shared. And I just think that would be tough to kind of have to take those lumps to be able to speak your truth. But I think when it's important enough to you, that you do it. So, I mean, I always commend experiencers like Keith who have this kind of contact on a day-to-day basis, because honestly, I don't think the general public really realizes how personal contact is and that kind of journey it takes you on, let alone multiple experiences, on top of each other. So I understand what Keith means when he says, you question your sanity at times, but to have to do that over and over and over again, it would definitely weigh on you. I've only had to question my sanity twice, maybe 3 times.
Yes, because when you get a pile of rocks left on your kitchen table, that's something to question your sanity about. That is for sure. Now,
yeah, I really did.
Now, Keith, I have to ask you, in regards to your own experiences that you've had a lot of strange ones, scary ones. Is there any type of encounter with any type of being out there that you would like to have a contact with or a conversation with that you haven't yet?
That I haven't yet? That's an excellent question. I'm not entirely certain. I know there's a couple of planets I would love to go and take a look at, but it would be entertaining. I was going to say to sit down and talk to the Nordics, but I've done that before. I'm not sure if there's one that I can think of offhand that I don't know, that I haven't talked to before, because most of the ones that I've talked to you guys about have been head on. You know, they're ones that I've dealt with face to face.
Okay.
You know,
So
with
when was your last face-to-face encounter?
Pardon?
When was your last face-to-face encounter?
About 3 weeks ago.
Okay, detail that for us.
Well, they were having some interesting complications because they've got some new, what's the word I'm looking for? They've got a couple of new races that have come that have not been in the area. And they were trying to get a handle, the Central Command was trying to get a handle on them as far as how they were going to interact, or how best to get them to interact. Because they were pushing for landfall. Right. There's a couple of new vessels that have come into the area. And of course, the sad part is when the new ones get in, they usually don't check in with Central. You know, they don't tend to check in with the consortium flagship right off the bat. You know, even though they know they're supposed to, it seems to be an issue of getting very excited about it. But the funniest part about it was when the Martokians, that was where I was supposed to go with that. There was a class excursion from quite literally. Now they call it Martok. We call it Mars. Okay, but they had a class field trip come because of what's going on here. Right. And some of the kids were, to say the least, a little bit excited about the idea of coming down, taking a look around. Well, you know how kids are. You know, they don't take no for an answer very well.
Very true. When you have contact like that, how do they contact you? Do you have a beacon on you that they come up to you and they're like, "Hey, we gotta sit with R Keith here, get our board the Woo train here"? Is that how it works?
That's the nice part about being an uncontrolled telepath. Right, meaning I pick up things without focusing on it. But they've got controlled telepaths that when they want to talk to me, they just let me know. I arrange to be elsewhere, as it were, like out of mainstream. Usually that means hiding in my bedroom. Either hiding in my bedroom or, you know, hiding in the office. Thankfully, they haven't gone and pulled the stunt of removing me while we've been on the air. You know?
All right, let's get to our first question from Chris Moe here. How can humans partake in intergalactic trade? Asking for a friend.
Well, first and foremost, for obvious reasons, you've got to have stable contact with at least one species. Right? The trick with intergalactic trade is you got to have something to trade, not just curiosity. You know, and that's where the problem comes, because if you compare the off-world technology to Earth technology, it's like comparing the abacus to the computer. You know, our technology is just not anywhere near what they use.
How come?
Try that again, Dave?
How come?
Well, because they've had usually a few thousand years on top of us. You know, we look at the newest game system that came out, the PS5, right? They're using full immersion VR.
All right,
right.
let's get to a question here. Let's get to Sovereign's question. R Keith, which alien groups are known to have 6 digits on their hands and feet?
6 digits.
That's one more than 5.
Try that again.
I said that's one more than 5.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. I gotta think here. I don't usually pay much attention to their hands. I know who you're talking about. I'm just trying to remember what the heck they call themselves. Those people are weird, but they are. One term I've heard people use for them. They were once coined called magickers, meaning these people literally know how to manipulate energy in the way that science fiction writers see magic, as in cast a few, mutter a few things, draw a few sigils in the air, and create a fireball. These guys do it quite readily. They also work with base 12 mathematics. They're kind of neat. They're actually an orange color. They've got an orange color to their skin. I'm going to have to track them down the next time they're in the neighborhood.
Lock one up in the closet for us.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
Come on. You're R Keith Andrews. You can do anything.
Oh, I could. The problem is that they're likely to create a black hole inside said closet. Not a good setup.
Okay. Let's move on here. Adam is asking, the Greys have 3 digits, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And a thumb.
Yeah.
Okay. We got that one out of the way right there. Roy Boy is asking, Keith, how do you know it's all aliens that you're seeing? Have you ever thought it could be a government agency doing an experiment like MK Ultra was done?
Oh, number one, it's not all aliens. Number two, some of it is government. Some of it is what I call ancient races. Okay, so no, it's a mixed bag of different things, but there's a very distinctive difference in the way that off-worlders communicate. Like, their languages are way different than human. And their understanding and their maneuverability on this planet is a little different.
All right. Are you done with that one, or do you want me to move on?
Yeah, we can carry on. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that they stand out as off-worlders.
Sure. Nicole, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I guess I want to know, maybe, is there any big life lessons that you've learned from different groups that you've been contacted with? Like, are they ever like, hey, stupid human, don't do this, or do this way, or, this information is to help you, or stay away from these guys? Like,
oh, we learned that, and we learned some of those not by so much by them saying, hey, don't do that. But the biggest lesson was, you do not judge anybody by their appearance. Their skin color, their stature, none of it. Right. The other thing that they did teach me, that I learned very quickly, was just because they can eat it does not mean it's a good thing for me to eat.
I like that one.
R Keith Andrews and Nicole Sakach are here for the ET Connection tonight. Go ahead, Nicole.
I was going to say, how old do you think you were when you were learning these sort of messages, when things started like clicking for you?
Somewhere between 3 and 5.
Yep.
Nicole, you got to bring on Keith with Grant Cameron. You have to.
That would be off the charts woo, don't you think?
Hugely.
If it was
hugely.
a fireside chat.
Keith and Grant would get along great. They would get along great. Over in Spreaker chat, we have a question from Bigfoot Mikey, who's asking, what would humanity have of value to extraterrestrials?
An incredible capacity for curiosity, and the instinctive capacity to manipulate what humans call 0-point energy. Okay. The funny thing is that if humans ever learn how to use it right, they become a force to be reckoned with. Right now, they're so caught up with their own shortfalls, if you will, like humans are, that humans won't unite. If humans ever united, the off-worlders are worried about that happening. They're not doing anything to stop it, right, to interfere with it, But the reality is, the moment mankind starts to realize that working together works better, they become a force to reckon with on the galactic plane.
Makes sense. All right, let's move on in our chat room. Troy is asking, and hi, Troy, tonight. How are you? He is asking, do aliens have more than two genders, or are they similar to humans in that regard?
No, there are a few that have actually 3 genders. As a matter of fact, I was just, and because I only just started documenting it, without looking it up, I'm going to have a problem. But there's one I was just working on. Their method of reproduction requires all three genders.
All right, let's move on.
Yes, it's different.
Sovereign is asking, orange color skin, do they travel in orange orbs? I just asked him, Keith. I just asked the questions.
Yeah, I know. No, the funny part is that depends literally on their mood. Because they do travel in a crystalline ship that literally is affected by the energy they're working with. But in answer to the question that's obviously going with that, you're looking at orbs that tend to be, on average, about 6 feet in diameter.
Okay, moving on. Nikki is asking, have you heard of the Exceeds? EXCEEDS? Yes, no? You're looking confused?
I haven't heard it by that name, but many of the races I know, I don't know by the name that other people know them by.
All right, we'll move on. Tammy is asking, are orbs alien craft of some sort?
Sometimes, yes. Some are alien craft, some are literally the alien themselves, and some are probes.
Some are probes. You don't want any alien probing, though. No. All right. Waylon is asking, Keith, what's your opinion on the Zetas? Thank you.
I got no problem with them. They've got a heck of a sense of humor. And talk about chatterboxes when you get onto a subject they like.
Fill me in.
Well, if you catch the right one on any scientific topic, they will spend hours talking. Right? But if you think some humans can be sarcastic, these guys make humans pale in comparison. That's why when we ran into Carl, a couple of years back, that's why we were having such a hoot with him.
I was just telling that story, believe it or not, yesterday to Nicole and Grant Cameron, as they're doing a bunch of part series on my stories and my weirdness, and they'll be on Nicole and Grant's YouTube channels. But, Nicole, I mean, we were just talking about Keith in regards to this.
I was like, well, that's a synchronicity. It goes good.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to Grant in, probably 5 years now. I ran into Grant back in, I think, 2013 or 2014, one of the two. Back at the Experience or Speak conference out in Portland, Maine.
Yeah, he said it had been a few years since you guys had ran into each other, but Grant barely remembers anything or anybody that he runs into. So.
Yes, this is very true. R Keith, Nicole, hold on. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour on Spaced Out Radio. The ET Connection happens near the beginning of each month here on the Mighty SOR. We'll continue with your audience questions and more woo as the show goes on.
He's still all choked up over that Bigfoot photo or Bigfoot video he saw today.
What Bigfoot video?
You said you saw an amazing one.
I know, but I wasn't supposed to.
Oh.
Yeah.
You didn't say what you saw. You just said you saw
I may or may not have seen a Bigfoot video that may or may not have been the most amazing video that I've ever seen, but it may or may not be real, and it may or may not exist, and it may or may not ever be brought out to the public. And I'm not allowed to say where I got it, how I got it, who I got it from, and it doesn't exist.
It's
This
never
reminds me of that wonderful little conversation we had when I ran into Don.
Yes,
don't
It took a year to get that picture out at all.
I know.
you get like 20 Bigfoot pictures a day? Like,
Hey, thank you to Adam Robbins for the super chat. Hey, Keith, I was trying to intimidate, do that sound for Nicole of Carl. That.
You're doing that with the tongue. It's actually got. I don't know if it'll come through or not.
This is what it sounded like. If he does it, this is what it sounded like. That's
I
it.
Oh.
don't think you can hear it.
Yeah, we could hear it.
oh,
Can you do it again?
It's not done with the tongue. Well, it's done where it's formed is at the base of the throat.
Yes.
yeah. I could get that.
Hey, Fabster. Hey, Princess Denali. The Jim Christie is here. The Jim Christie. Jack
Speaking of pictures
Mayhoff.
and
Mayhoff?
videos,
What's that?
Mehoff. Keith, did you see the big photo that was released yesterday? That was floating all around the internet and of the. It was out of a cell phone picture out of a F-18.
Yeah, that single ship that was out there.
Have you recognized that ship?
Recognize it, yes, but it's not. It's one of the new people. It almost looks like a gray. It almost looks like it belongs to one of the grays, but it would be a more modernized version, if you will.
You don't think it's a Mylar balloon of a Batman balloon?
No.
Because it looks like one. Hey, Nicole, can you do me a favor? Can you bring that picture up on Skype for Keith to see it? And then if you have the one that shows the Mylar balloon alongside of the F-18 picture, that'd be great. Thank you again, Adam Robbins, for the amazing super chat. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. That was awesome.
I might not have the Mylar balloon.
Okay, Kaylee's here, everyone. The gorgeous and talented Kaylee is here. Look at her. Oh, look who's here, everyone. How could we be remiss, okay? How could we be remiss in not reminding you that Cable Guy Matt is here, which means that when you go to our store, the SOR Vault, and you go to facebook.com/spaced out radio, that you can get a free piece of autographed coaxial cable courtesy of Cable Guy Matt. Remember, you cannot buy these in stores. Limit one per purchase. They're all autographed by Cable Guy Matt. You want these. These are free for you when you buy a shirt. Yes, they are free for you. So make sure you go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. Get your t-shirt. We're getting you some stickers, too. I'm going to give away some stickers, too. And you get a free piece of coaxial cable, courtesy of Cable Guy Matt. Hey, Michael Boyle, how you doing? How's your balloon knots? That came out totally wrong. Surf Jer,
Yep.
another veteran. Another veteran. Surf Jer is here, everyone. We love our veterans around here. Keith, there's the Batman blue.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, that is not Mylar. That's Mobius.
All right. Well, we'll get into that when we get Nicole. I'll let you get to that when we come back. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to. I didn't know if you wanted to do that for terrestrial or YouTube or both, or
Well, we're kind of doing both as it is because that's kind of what we do here.
I know it's so highly controversial right now. I didn't know if you wanted to drag Keith into this.
Bring it in. It's R Keith, man. Virgil, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. If you can't have a little R Keith Andrews, what can you have on this planet? Honestly, what can you have? All right. Thank you to everybody who's given us a thumbs up so far. We're going to be back here in about, 5 seconds. Hold on, guys. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with the ET Connections and RT. What the heck is your name? R Keith Andrews. There he is. And our special guest, Nicole Sakach. Nicole, you wanted to stir up the woo a little bit here because I'm such a nice guy. I don't do that kind of stuff. But you do. You wanted to get into Keith's opinion of the UFO picture that was brought out yesterday.
Yeah, because, that's what this show's about. We ask Keith questions, and he has all the answers for us. So, previous shows we've discussed certain types of ships, and if Keith knows this shape and who drives it or who pilots it or if it's grown on what planet and different things. So, yeah, he asked the question if he saw the photo, and so we dropped him into the chat. So, Keith, have you seen this kind of craft before?
Yeah, that craft is a Mobian cruiser.
And
in
give
fact,
us
only two in a cruiser.
Mobians.
Mobians, they are on a planet. Their planet is literally in the same orbit as Earth, but on the far side of the sun. You will never see it from Earth.
What do these guys usually do, and how do they interact when they're visiting us here?
You wouldn't know a Mobian from a human, aside from their little off-kilter where it comes to knowing the social idiosyncrasies. See, Mobians are humans. But about 30,000 years ago, they colonized Mobius.
Aha.
So now when they come back, it's kind of like going back to the Old West. A long way back to the Old West.
I could see that.
Okay, so what makes you say that's a Mobian ship and not a Mylar balloon?
Because the energy pattern is all wrong on it.
Fill us in. We got a public to describe that to.
Sorry. Why you ask? The thing is, I see energy fields around objects. And when something's got a power source, which that thing does, it's not a Mylar balloon. That's the easiest way to put it. If you look at an object, if you've ever looked at an object in the heat, you can see the heat waves coming off of a metal object or off the concrete. All vehicles, all living organisms have an energy force. They have that kind of a field. And in my case, my eyes just work that way where I can see it. So, of course, and that's why I looked at it. The shape is right to start with. I mean, the first time I spotted one of those, I was downtown Kelowna, right, which is where I live. Well, I don't live in downtown, but anyway, I was on a deck. I called the chap up, and I said, "Can I borrow your eyes for a minute?" And he looked at me really funny. I said, and so I showed him my glasses. I said, "Well, obviously mine don't work well." So I pointed up into the sky above the deck we were sitting on. And I says, "What's that?" And it was a ship that looked almost identical to that one, only the one I saw was a lot clearer. Right? And the guy looks at it and goes, "Well, it's not a hot air balloon. It's not an ultralight. It's not a light aircraft. It's not a parachute. It's not a paraglider." It lists off like 3 or 4 other things. I says, "Great. So what is it?" He says, "I don't know." Meanwhile, this thing is turning in in position, just spinning around very slowly, much like a Hawker Siddeley turns. But that picture has a very definitive energy field to it, which kind of eliminates the idea of Mylar.
In human lingo, would you classify that as a triangle craft?
No.
Okay. And then a follow-up to that, you said you could see the energy field. And when I look at that, I mean, I guess I was following the triangle line of thinking, like when people describe the different points of a triangle having the energy source, or sometimes the energy source being in the center. Now, when you look at that picture and see an energy field emanating from it, is, with my human eyes, is that like the darker part I see?
Let me just gonna blow that picture up again. Where is it? There it is.
Because you do see what almost looks like an emblem or something on that face that's facing us,
Yeah. No, I see what you're talking about, the two little dark spots at the back, and then what looks almost like a happy face.
Uh-huh.
The spots that you're seeing, the dark spots that you're seeing at the back, they are an energy source, but they're not the primary. The primary energy source is right smack in the middle. But those are your weapon systems.
Oh, interesting. And what kind of weapons do they fire?
Well, from your standpoint, you'd call it either a disruptor or a disintegrator. They're actually a molecular destabilizer.
So would that be like a beam or a burst, or just something that would annihilate you before you even saw it?
Oh, you'd never even know it. Because when we talk about molecular destabilization, this won't help people unless you've got a scientific background. But if you know basic chemistry, electrons normally leave any given atom and swap off and go and connect with another one. When they hit this with basically an accelerated cloud that literally destabilizes the whole thing all at once, and all you get is a puff of, just kind of a puff of energy, and no more vehicle.
Mm-hmm. So, do these craft have any kind of like protective force field around them, or do they disrupt a area, like a field around them that's larger than the ship, or anything like that?
They've got an ionizer that will draw a cloud around them, concealing them when if they're in atmosphere.
Keith, the pilots say that they were about 1,000 feet away from that craft, and that they have, they have the one picture of it. They have another picture of it. They said at first it may have come out of the ocean, and they're saying they're about 35,000 feet. So if that craft is at 1,000 feet away, how big is it?
Well, I'm not good with
like to any of us, it looks like the size of a balloon.
Yeah, and no, that ship, if it's a standard one, and unfortunately I can't tell you for certain, but if it's standard, it's got a minimum of a complement of 8 people. Right. Now, people are human-sized.
Right. Would you say that ship is in like a threatening position, or is it exhibiting anything to where it is doing anything except just hanging out there? Is it aggressive in any way to you?
No, that's a censorship. They have weapons because the Mobians just found that was safer.
Right, but they're not like, oh crap, there's an F-18, weapons lock on that thing. No,
these guys, because of where they come from, because of the way their society is, even if you were to open fire on them, the worst thing that would happen it would be advised to get out of the plane afterwards because they'll just kill the engine.
Mm-mm.
Because the reality is that Terran weaponry won't touch these guys.
Right.
All right,
but tend to get a little aggressive and therefore can hurt themselves when they're dealing with these guys.
All right, let's see some audience questions here. Let's get right to them. Sovereign is asking, why is it that UFOs dim their lights as soon as you lay eyes on them?
Well, the specific reason depends on the race, really. But one of the reasons is because humans do not track things in the dark well. So if they dim the lights, a lot of the time, humans will lose track of where they are. You know, and they can tell because of the sensors they've got. They can tell that your attention is shifted to them. So by dropping the lights, most humans lose track.
What do they think of all these humans that are like pointing lasers and flashlights at them, like blink, 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 you know, try to talk back to me? And what are they thinking when they flare back up and do these light shows for people?
Well, in all fairness, they look at it much like humans will look at cats with a laser pointer.
So they're like, what are those guys doing? Here, let's flash back at them.
They know exactly what they're doing, and some of them will play with people as far as entertain them on that line.
Yeah, that's that's the story Grant just told today about Charlie Red Star that I hadn't realized before. He, you know, was out with the kids that he was taking to show these things to. They were like grounders that sometimes they were in the air, but a lot of times they were like right there off the ground, and they could flash lights at them.
Nicole,
and then they
Nicole,
would like flare up or light up.
Nicole, your Skype is breaking up.
Oh no!
I know. While you try and fix that, let's go to a question from Mike here. Mike is asking, Keith, do aliens practice a religion or religions? Do you believe that some biblical accounts are actually of alien visits as opposed to angels and demons as reported?
Well, number one, they absolutely have various religions. Many of them very similar to various races, depending. As far as are some of the accounts based on off-worlders, absolutely. A primary example would be a lot of the Nordic gods. Were a lot of the ancient Greek and ancient Roman gods were Nordics that literally came, that had literally shown up here. Okay, but that being said, when we start talking about angels and demons, well, that's kind of like asking if they were from off-worlders, because angels and demons are just simply another race.
Right.
Well, more than another two races.
All right. Jack is asking, would you consider the tall whites Vulcan-like in personality?
In a lot of ways, yes.
All right.
Basically, they do have the creative side to them, but they are extremely analytical when dealing with other people. But to be clear, the tall whites are not Nordics.
G. West is asking, is Mobius the only other planet in the solar system we cannot see?
No, but it is one of it's Mobius you just never will see. Cruinia is just in a funny place. If you're an astronomer, you can undoubtedly find it. Cruinia orbits, it starts, the outer edge of the orbit is just the sun side of Jupiter and comes into just inside Mercury's orbit. Okay, but it comes in on a 30-degree angle on the galactic plane. And then you've got Vulcan, which is inside the sun's photosphere.
R Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio for the ET Connection. We're also joined by Nicole Sakach as special guest. Jack is asking another question here, Keith. How many humans are living on some of these ET planets
I have no idea.
I think you could use the word lots.
Yeah, I could have. It's funny when scientists say, "Oh, we're just getting like." I noticed the other day somewhere I read that Elon Musk says they'll have humans on Mars within the next 5 years. Well, they will. I mean, they're already there, and I can't see them leaving.
All right. Go ahead, Nicole.
Oh, I was going to say I came across an interesting article, and I've seen it before. And we talk about the possibility of life or alien life being on, is it Saturn's moon, Titan?
Yeah. Titan.
Do we have aliens on Titan?
No. Well, no, we're the aliens on Titan.
Right. But I mean, I guess they're saying there's the possibility of life, or that humans could survive on Titan. So if we go and try to colonize Titan, are we going to find non-human aliens?
I mean, technically, you could live there, yes. At this stage, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because the amenities are a little lacking. But from an atmospheric standpoint, you could certainly live there. They've got a research station set up there already, like mankind does.
All right. Next question. And this one comes from Troy. If I ever come in close contact with an alien, do I look them in the eye to show them strength, or should I look down and away?
Now, here comes the complication. That depends on which alien. Okay, because there are, like, for instance, if you take a look at a Tormanon, you look him dead in the eye, he's likely to take your arm off and beat you with it. Because he will take you to the challenge and you're not up to it. Right. On the other hand, if you take a look at which ones are the little guys here, if you look at, I'm trying to remember what the heck the name was. There we go, the Zotar. You meet the Zotar, you want to look them dead in the eye. In order to do it properly, you need to lay down on your belly, because they're only 6 inches tall to start with. But it is for them. It will, if you get down so you can look them eye to eye, you will make good headway on the social scale with them.
Sovereign wants to know, Keith, do you know which cryptid groups create megalithic constructions like rock stacks, dolmens, etc.?
Well, I know that the Wara do. They do that more from a standpoint of, let's see if we can confuse somebody. Depending on where they are, the rock stacks more often than not. I mean, I know for an absolute certainty the Sasquatch does, but the I was going to say Quadlin, they do not. Sorry about that. Oh, the Quatwa, which are an aquatic group, and they will set up rock stacks at the edge of a lake or of an ocean, to mark where it's safe to come on board, where it's safe to come up on shore. Mind you, in their case, they're usually low slung.
Continuing on with the audience questions, Bob wants to know, is it true that aliens like strawberry-flavored gummy bears?
I don't know about gummy bears, but I do know that Martokians love ice cream.
Do they stop at the Dairy Queen drive-thru before?
That was where he came in. The one I met the first one I met directly came into Dairy Queen. That's a heck of a long haul.
Okay. You got to explain aliens at the Dairy Queen, man.
Well, at the time, I was an assistant manager there. And this guy walks in, and he had to duck to come in through the front door, which caught my attention in the first place. I mean, it's a standard door, so, I mean, you're only looking at a 6-foot door or something to that effect. Right? But he had to duck to come in. And the first thing I noticed was he was an interesting green color. You know, Martokians, you know, they say Martians are little green men. They're green, but they're by no means little. But the really weird part about it, as far as his gait went, was he's got reverse knees. Right. But do they ever like their ice cream?
What flavor?
Well, in his case, I think he went out. I think he actually went after chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't dealing with the ice cream. I was dealing with cooking at the time.
Okay, well, our audience thanks you for turning up the woo by about a couple of decibels there. We do appreciate that. Nikki is asking, what type of hierarchy is there between seraphim, angels, and ETs, where angels will protect humans from ET abductions and the like?
The angels are allies of humans. They're also enforcers for the Galactic Consortium. So if somebody tries collecting somebody, you know, if somebody tries collecting a human without, where the human is definitively, you know, asking for backup, the Angelos do have the authorization to step in and put an end to the collection.
Pleasant. We got 2.5 minutes to go before we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. R Keith Andrews is here for the ET Connection along with Nicole Sakach. And Florida Steph is asking, Keith, why does ET come here and what is their interest in Earth?
Well, the short answer would be the database in the triple helix. Earth is essentially the Library of Alexandria on the galactic scale. You know, so that's the short answer. I mean, there's a whole lot of various reasons inside that. You know, some are for research, some are simply for study. For like, the Martokians come here from a class standpoint. You know, it's kind of like hands-on for paleontology, or in this case, xenosociology.
Okay. All right. Nicole? We got 1 minute. We got just over a minute.
Did I get asked a question? I'm sorry. I had 3 people messaging me about our panel discussion tomorrow, checking in for that. So I apologize.
That'll be a good one. Where can people find that one?
Well, I think it's going to go up live on Grant's White House UFO. If he was having all the technical difficulties, well, that kind of ran into today as well. Him and Desta tried to do a promo for it live and they got shut out. The tech shut them out. So he's trying to work out the kinks. If it's not live, it will go up on his White House UFO immediately following, and I will share it and post it on my YouTube channel as well. So both places. It's going to be a triangle palooza extravaganza.
Nice. Comment of the night so far comes from Fap in our chat room on YouTube. He says, if I go to Dairy Queen for some horrible cheat food, I don't want to have to wear a chastity belt fearing aliens. You're scaring us, Keith. You are scaring us. Hey, Keith and Nicole, I'm going to get you guys to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. 1 hour down, 90 more minutes to go of the ET Connection. We got lots of woo left, everyone. Plenty of woo. A plethora of woo for all of you tonight with R Keith and the ET Connection special guest. We have Nicole Sakach hanging on out. More of your questions, more ET talk. We'll find out about some gnomes for Goddess Michelle on Twitter. No, I haven't forgotten about you, Goddess Michelle. Have a drink on us. It's R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Continuing right after this. Okay, guys, you chat away. I'm going to be just taking my dogs outside. Hey, Brian Smith. Hey, Poulet de Bleu.
So, Keith, just to touch back a little bit on how we were saying, you were telling a little bit of the Carl story, and Dave was just telling Grant and I about it yesterday. And he talked about how you guys were on the phone right after he had seen Carl in the window, and you described like where Dave's house was and like a hill between his house and the neighbor's house, and you knew where Carl's craft was. How did you pick up on that? Can you explain kind of, do images come to you? Oh,
but no, I gotta take that because I'm logging out, so I'll be right back.
Take it. It's gonna be the Nicole show.
Hello.
Hi, everybody in YouTube. I didn't get to say my personal highs because when I type and try to listen and be on the show at the same time, my brain can't do it sometimes, so it's just late. Lord O'Fland, you asked a good question earlier and it skipped past, and now I can't remember it. So if you want to ask it again, I can try to get it in here for you. Hey, we got Science Bob in the chat. Whoop, whoop.
Okay, my apologies. That was work trying to call on to log me out. I'm now off shift. Anyway, sorry about that. How I knew where it was is because I'm also an astral traveler.
Okay.
And when I put my mind to it, I'm also a remote viewer.
So Dave says, Carl was at my window. I'm now outside. I don't see him anywhere. And astral project there?
Ultimately, yes. See, my senses basically go a whole lot in a lot of different directions that most people don't. Mm-hmm. Not the least of which is looking through somebody else's eyes.
I've heard that described
a number of times to confuse the heck out of people. It gives you a perfect vantage point of when you're trying to see where something is relating to somebody else.
Yeah, I have a friend that describes that as going behind their eyes, is how he puts it.
It's a good way to describe it.
Would somebody feel that?
If they were hypersensitive, the answer is yes.
What do you think that would feel like to somebody?
Tingly. It's almost like the back of your eyeballs are itchy.
Yeah. Would it make I don't know, how you can get sleep in your eyes, or you feel like you have gunk in the corners, but you don't have anything there? Would it be a feeling like that?
Technically, if the person doing it doesn't know what they're doing, the answer is yes.
Man, I might be being messed with.
Yeah, you don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole.
How would you stop somebody from doing that? General, your mental meditation blocks of, you can't read my thoughts. You need to.
Oh, that's technically the easiest. The simple answer is modify the biomagnetic emanations that you're putting out. You'll completely scramble their ability to track it.
Awesome.
Because most seers cannot adjust fast enough to compensate for it. Basically, what you're doing is you're using the oscillator densification technique.
Yeah, Angels Are Life says it depends on the person receiving their abilities.
Bomber, the woo factor is up to about a 9.2 right now. 9.2 on the woo scale. We're close to peak woo already. It's awesome. All right. There we go. We got about just under 2 minutes, guys.
Yeah, it does have a little to do with it because a lot of people will not turn to the Angelus in the first place. And of course, if they won't turn to them, they won't help. Mind you, there's been a number of cases where Angelus have stepped in to try and help, and people have totally ignored them and ended up paying the price.
Yeah.
See, oftentimes the Angelis are, when they get referred to as the messengers of the gods, that's pretty accurate if you think in terms of gods being anybody with a higher sociological or technological development level than humans.
All right, less than a minute here, guys. All right, big thank you to Adam Robbins for the super chat tonight. Really do appreciate the support. Thank you for everybody giving us a thumbs up. Thank you to everybody who has hit that subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. A great way to support this show. Head on over to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. You could grab the super chats that we have. Super chats? What the hell am I talking about? Some t-shirts there for you for some great swag. And yes, it's a good night to promote the Woo Train. Remember, every shirt you buy, in every order, you get a free piece of coaxial cable, courtesy and autographed by cable guy Matt, who's watching on his 180-inch television right now. Here we go, everyone. Hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio. And on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now kicking off. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We want to welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, as well as digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Flunnery. Flunnery is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter @SpacedOutRadio. And on Instagram @Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with the ET Connection with R Keith Andrews and special guest Nicole Sakach tonight as we are going into the world of woo. We need to bring it up. We're at about a 9.2. We need at least to hit 10 tonight. We got to hit that 10 tonight, gentlemen. Or, pardon, gentlemen. I'm sorry, Nicole. We got Keith, Mr. Keith, and Nicole Sakach. How you doing?
Not bad. We're having a little bit of trust bubble today, are we?
Oh, I'm tongue-tied. It's you know what? It's because I got a text message from Science Bob, who is all pumped up for you, Keith, about the woo tonight. All pumped up. And I know he's listening at home down in Bama, and he is like, we got woo train time, and he's like, he's out there tonight, and he's loving you. Absolutely. Let's get to Sovereign's question right off the bat here. Keith, how do you know about which volcanoes were going to go off a few months ago? Did you accurately predicted that?
Oh, because I literally am in contact with the planet. I can tell where the problems are. Can't necessarily get the dates on them, but I know which ones are going. And, in a lot of cases. I'm just hoping mankind can get their head on straight before the real bad one goes.
Well, let's hope so, because that would really suck if something bad happened.
I think it would actually blow in this case.
All right.
Eee.
What was that, Nicole?
I said, "Eee."
Yeah.
I think Pompeii, when you talk about volcanoes exploding and, people finding ash bodies thousands of years later.
You should have tried it when it happened. No, you really shouldn't have. Ended up breaking a buddy's ribs when that one went off.
Ooh.
Well, it was either break ribs or let him run into the city, which wasn't a good place to hang around.
So I'm stuck over here in Illinois, and there's this New Madrid fault line that kind of runs through the Midwest. You got any roundabout predictions about when this one could quake a big one? They kind of say it could happen, but
I just got the way I do it to start with, and unfortunately, whoa.
Are you okay? Did you fall? You fell, didn't?
No.
Oh, your globe fell.
My globe fell. I went to pick it up and it rolled over on me. Like I said, Dave, I'm old school.
It's a nice globe, actually. Very nice.
Yeah, I would.
It's actually three-dimensional. As in, it's a contour map. And you said you were where, Nicole?
I'm in Illinois, USA.
By Lake Michigan.
It's almost my town is almost in the middle of the state. But if I'm remembering correctly, the New Madrid fault line sort of follows the Mississippi River, like down Illinois, like into Missouri and Kentucky, Tennessee, kind of that region.
If you're hoping to avoid the disaster on the East Coast when it happens, don't. You might want to have a boat if you're inland. Because the reality is when the Canary goes, that whole line up straight through the Sierra Madres will go off. Problem is I don't know exactly when the Canary is going to go. I do know the devastation that it's going to create.
All right. We got to get to Goddess Michelle's question on Twitter because she's having a good time getting some woo in here tonight, and she's asking Keith, if I have gnome bedding, will Dave have gnomes peeking in his window because of this?
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I would be more creeped out by a gnome peeking in my window than Carl. Like those weird little hats. Oh.
Gnomes don't wear those weird little hats. They usually wear armored helmets.
They're always ready for war. Always ready for war.
Well, basically, they're little cousins of the dwarves, and they are, they may look cute and a little ungainly and what have you, but they're temperamental little munchkins.
Everything I've read about like gnomes and troll and so they're not like the cute renditions that people plunk down in their front yard, like those yard gnomes.
No, they're definitely not. I mean, you may find one plunked down in your front yard, but that's because they decided they were going to startle you.
I think I just heard Gail, Captain Shirk, say she'd kick it across the front yard. I swear I heard her voice.
Probably. That's probably true. Probably very true.
She'd punt him.
All right.
He's ready to punt a medicine ball.
All right.
Or a ball.
Let's move on here. Corrins is asking, Keith, is there any fear from your beautiful girlfriend concerning being taken while she is with you?
Fortunately, not that we've come across yet. In other words, considering we haven't actually physically been in the same location yet, right, due to this whole fiasco we're dealing with, we haven't had to deal with that particular problem, but she hasn't voiced any concern around it. She's voiced a lot of interest in meeting some of my friends that are up high.
Very nice. Speaking of up high, let's go down to Florida for Florida Steph. Are reptilians aggressive and do they harvest humans?
Okay, well, yes, no, and sometimes. And what I mean by that is there are at least a dozen reptilian races I know of right offhand. Only one of them will deliberately hunt humans, because of the fact that, and it is called harvesting. They like the flavor. But most of them don't bother with them. Unless they're on a on a collection run. If they're doing research, they will quack humans, but they do return them. There's only the one, like the Teklik are the only race that will come down, collect them with no intention of bringing them back at all. But no, there is no contract that says they're allowed. There's just a lot of them that will break the rules.
Okay, let's get over to Lord of Land. Keith, will there be any special alien contact with Earth before the year's end?
If he's referring to public acknowledgement, as in the government stepping forward and saying, here you go, I wouldn't hold my breath. If we're talking about the ongoing, there already is. I'm not expecting the human governments to come out and say, hey, by the way, we've got off-worlders on planet, because of the inherent panic that's going to cause on top of everything else.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Jack is asking, are these ET races jealous of humans' free will and the ability to feel many emotions?
Well, try that again.
Are these ET races that are coming here jealous of humans' free will and the ability to feel many emotions?
Jealous of? Not exactly. Envious of? Certainly. Because most of them just don't have that array of emotions. And the ones that do don't know how to handle most of them. But would they like to be able to handle them? The answer is yes.
All right. Greg is asking, are there any off-world wow, tongue twister. Are there any off-worlders robots here?
Undoubtedly. Off-worlders have robots just like humans have robots. Only theirs are a little more advanced. But before somebody goes down the wrong road here, no, they do not have, and to the best of my knowledge, they do not have combat droids on the planet.
Okay, one final question before we get to Nicole's comment or question.
Oh, I wanted Brian Smith's question.
Well, you can have that. I'm going with Fap here, who says, am I safe to go to Jack in the Box? Please tell me there's no aliens there.
Well, considering I've never been to Jack in the Box, is it safe to go there? That depends on what you think of their food. As far as the off-worlders go, they don't tend to take people out of the middle of a daytime fast food joint.
Nicole.
Brian's asking, and honestly, I haven't heard this statement by Chris Bledsoe, so it kind of got me excited. It says, what does Keith think about the aliens telling Chris Bledsoe that they are going to make themselves so visible that the government won't be able to hide them anymore?
Well, it would be interesting. Have I been told that? No. Because the biggest difference there, and I won't say he hasn't been told that. I'm not about to go there because I wasn't there to find out. But from what I've gathered from the consortium, they are trying not to totally disrupt society. And that would absolutely decimate the stability of society for what it is right now. I mean, if you think this is chaos right now, see what happens when that occurs. Now he may well have been told that. I have no idea. I wasn't there to find out one way or the other. But I do know the outcome of that kind of a maneuver. And whichever race actually pulls that one off, you can bet is going to be extricated from the consortium. And that's not a good setup. Not for the race doing it. Because forced expulsion from the consortium would result in their primary planet and the planet of their secondary government being wiped off of the map. And they don't go in and do, we'll only take out military or we'll only take out political. They wipe out the entire planet.
New York Anthony is asking, Keith, why are you convinced that a massive reveal would lead to overwhelming panic?
Because people get panicky, like humans get panicky when they get put in with different colored humans. Picture what's going to happen if you end up with an octopod, an amoebic, and a reptilian walking down the street in full battle gear, which is what they usually wear.
I think it goes beyond that. I agree with you at 50% of that, because we have a disease out there that 99.7% will survive, and we're rating for toilet paper instead of hand cleaner, masks, solvent to clean our hands with. You know, we don't disinfect anything.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. Could be wrong.
Well, it's like I tell people, you know, and I've had to tell people before. Everything I say is literally my opinion. I've got no clinical research to back it up.
Kay Kaylee is asking, Keith, can you confirm that off-worlders are at Walmart? I swear I saw one. They looked a little crazy the other day.
The answer is no, considering I haven't been to Walmart in months. Actually, I haven't been to Walmart since before COVID. So, can I confirm? No, but can I extrapolate and say it's a good bet? Yeah.
Okay. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues.
So, Keith, did you buy up all the damn toilet paper?
Me? No. No, I'm already stocked up. But I am selling little baggies at $10 a square right now.
Yeah, like he said he hasn't been to Walmart like since before COVID, so he must have bought all the toilet paper before he went underground.
Oh,
you
right.
that Walmart is not the only place that sells toilet paper, right?
That's true. That's true.
All right. Let's go to another question here. How do you follow that up? All right. Gary the Spudger down in the UK, or over in the UK, is asking, could a Bigfoot female give birth to full-size alien greys if they made it?
Well, that would kill the female. Greys are not that small. I mean, technically it's possible, but it would mean splitting the female's abdomen wide open. Which, by the way, they will not survive that. And that paints a really bad picture when you think about it.
Oh, I can see Science Bob right now. What the hell is he talking about? Anyways, R. Keith Andrews is here on Spaced Out Radio, and we are continuing with audience questions tonight. Let's see, what's another one here? Let's see here. Sovereign is asking, does Gatorade contain synthetic adrenochrome for reptilian-human hybrids?
Well, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't hold my breath on it. I mean, I'd be concerned with what they put in what humans put in the first place. But if he's referring to, is it some sort of a mutagenic that's being used to modify human DNA? Not from anything I've ever heard. You know, quite frankly, if they're going to do that, they will do it in a much more efficient fashion. The thing we really got to get through to people is that, especially when you're looking at the reptilians, the whole thing about reptilian takeover of the planet comes from a series back in the late 70s, early 80s called V.
Right.
You know, that's where the whole thing started, where that whole concept came from. But no, as far as I'm aware, and of course I am not a chemical engineer by any functional stretch. So I have no idea what they make Gatorade out of, although I do question the intelligence of drinking it, but you know.
All right, let's move on here. See if we got another question. Jack is asking, is there any races that plan on permanently disabling Earth's nuclear capabilities?
No. The reason for that is nuclear power generation is a necessary step for humans to get it under control before they jump to fusion. So will they likely step in and disable if mankind tries to go to a global nuclear war again? The answer is yeah, they'd shut them down at that point, but not the ability to create nuclear. Because the nuclear power generation is a necessary societal evolution. Or more to the point, technological evolution.
Wow.
I got a question about reptilians.
Sure.
Brian's been...
We got 3 minutes.
Okay. I want to know, I mean, a long time ago, a while ago, I just flat out never believed any reptilian story. I thought it was completely based off, you know, I've seen in the chat like 1983 V, and then the reboot of it that I think was in the late 90s. But I now kind of believe enough people that they have encountered reptilians. I mean, they can give you sketches of them. They'll tell you about the encounter. You know, I'm a little fascinated by it. Do they really run around in like human skin suits?
Not even close.
Themselves? All right.
Not even close. Really hard to get a human skin to actually fit a reptilian configuration.
Right. So they kind of pop up like, you know, the Greys do. It's kind of like they're here and then they're not, or...
Well, some of them are chameleonic in nature. In other words, they can fade into their background. You know, but none of them wear human skin. I mean, there's a couple of sick ones, if you will. You know, it's just like some humans are a little twisted. Some reptilians are a little twisted. But it is not a cultural trait. No, it's kind of like they don't go around wearing human hair.
Right. Well, I mean, we wear enough animal skins that, you know, I don't really think it's out of the realm of possibility or that far stretched. That
No, but the way you put it, it sounded like you were talking about a full bodysuit.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. It's like they always show like, oh, that person's a reptilian, and then they like pull down their eye and you can see like their cheeks green, or, you know, they peel off a section of their synthetic suit or whatever, and it's
it comes straight up. No, the funny part with reptilians is the closest they're going to come to wearing somebody's skin is if you run into a Teklik on a bad day for you, he may have some hanging from his lips.
Ooh.
Exactly the point.
Yeah.
You know, these are
Do
not
they even wear clothes?
good dinner.
Do reptilians even wear clothing, or do they have? Yeah, the renditions I've seen, they're always, you know, in the buff. So.
I know. If you take a look at the Strazazians, they wear a full lower torso garb and upper harness.
Yeah.
All right, you guys hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. R Keith Andrews, along with special guest Nicole Sakach, on the ET Connection. We will continue with your questions in our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. We'll be back with more of R Keith and the ET Connection right after this. All right, guys, we're clear.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm very fast moving today.
The chat's moving fast too.
I know. Hey, I want to remind our chatters in the YouTube chat room, if you don't mind, please put your questions in capital letters so I can see them. Now, it's great to ask woo-filled questions, but let's keep it on topic. All right? Let's keep it on topic if you don't mind. Thank you. Come on, Keith. Lift up the hair. Let's see the sideburns.
What?
Look at that pork chop. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Make you feel better?
I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it's funny. I was telling my other half that the other day. Well, when we first got together, I told her, yeah, the hair, I don't care. If we end up getting it cut from her standpoint, that's fine. But the sideburns are staying. Like, that's just the way that goes. So that works out well from my standpoint. And we have dead silence.
I'm just watching everything here.
Ah.
I'm eating salt and vinegar Lay's potato chips, so I muted while I was crunching.
Well, that's nice.
I know. I
nice.
didn't think you'd want me to. There are people out there that like to, listen to stuff like that, but that's not this kind of show.
I'm not one of them. You know?
I'm tired tonight.
It's okay. That means you'll get some sleep.
Oh, goodness. I didn't get to sleep till like 3 o'clock last night.
And that after panel party where we talked for about an hour after we shut down YouTube, didn't we?
Yeah, too bad YouTube folded on me there. My computer went a little weird.
It's the phenomenon. Your tech was screwing up. Grant's tech was screwing up. My internet just dropped in and out, and I had to reboot for this show. I don't know. The triangle panel tomorrow could be set up.
I gotta ask, what is a triangle panel?
Grant and I are gathering up witnesses to triangle crafts.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So we're bringing in about over 2 days. I think we're bringing in right around 20 people, and we did some solo long form interviews like we did with Dave yesterday, where we're going to use clips of the longer interviews to fill in, with a PowerPoint presentation. And we have people coming in to talk about the Belgium triangles, Tinley Park here in Illinois. We interviewed the Phoenix Lights case, and it's going to be great. And then just some witnesses who have seen these things, but, maybe haven't written a book. Dave Marler's joining the panel. He's written a book or 2 or 3. And yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
All right. Where are we here? We got just under 1 minute. Or just over 1 minute.
Melinda Leslie actually gave us a testimony of being on board a triangle craft. So, Keith, I think you've been on just about every craft out there. I'd love to hear you.
I've been on a number, but not just about every one by any stretch.
How about a triangle?
Oh yeah, they're actually a really fascinating ship.
I'm all ears.
The triangles are actually run by the consortium. They're not the only ones the consortium runs, but they are their standard scouts.
All right, I think I got the questions lined up here. Let me just right there.
Are there human-made triangles
Yeah.
and off-worlders?
Yep.
And are they the TR3B?
Yep. Okay, guys, hold on. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you all for tuning us in tonight. We really do appreciate all of your time. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. The ET Connection continues tonight on Spaced Out Radio with R Keith Andrews. Comes in at the beginning of every month to talk a little woo, a little aliens, little spaceships, and any questions you may have. We are also joined by the lovely and talented Nicole Sakach, who is on the air, joining us as well. Keith, Nicole, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having us.
All right, first question coming from Bob. Is it true reptilians were consulted for the Gorn episode on Star Trek?
I can't say for certain that the reptilian. I mean, there was certainly some, but exactly who talked to them, I don't know. What I do know is the Gorn are, aside from their size, because obviously humans just aren't built that size, are very reminiscent of the Thrazazian.
All right.
You know, the funny thing with that whole thing with Star Trek is Gene Roddenberry, in my opinion, was a full-blown seer.
Yes, I've heard that as well.
You know, he was definitely a visionary. Well, definitely from my perspective, anyway.
Yeah, I've heard some people describe it, you know, in more modern terms. I think they say now that he was downloaded with information, you know, or inspiration for the show and things like that. So
I agree. Let's move on to the next question. Christopher is asking, are canines, especially dogs and coyotes, sensitive to the presence of off-worlders or their craft when they are not apparent to humans?
Absolutely, they can hear them.
My dogs must be deaf then.
yeah,
They don't react to anything.
That was my first minor ceramic, so.
Okay, what do they hear?
It's a high pitch. Like that's why they can hear the high pitch and the high pitched hum. They can also feel the vibratory rate.
that's why I think children can sense them better than adults as well too.
Most of the time, yes. Because children on the whole haven't figured out they're not able to hear them.
Yeah, and I just did those hearing tests where that's like, you know, when you're, I forget what age you turn, and it's an app that kids can do jokes with, and really adults can't hear certain tones, and teenagers and children can. So, yeah, dogs are even better than kids.
But yeah, they absolutely can.
All right, let's move on. Filth is asking, did alien species evolve their tech similar to Earthlings, cavemen to medieval to modern, etc., if that makes sense?
It makes total sense. And depending on the race, some of them, the answer is yes. And some have a much faster way of doing it, also known as total recall. See, some races, because of the way they are set up, have complete social recall, right, that actually works like an absolute charm. Social recall meaning they have societal memory. And if you've got societal memory, you end up being able to advance your technology a lot faster. But on the whole, it's a long drawn out process, and a lot of them have gone through the same things humans are going through now.
All right, let's move on. Princess Denali is asking, are there reptilians who wear armor like attire?
Yes. How was that for a short answer? It depends. It depends on the race. Like, for instance, the Tormonok usually gear up in standard armor. The Srazazians absolutely do. Okay, of course, in Srazazians' case, they literally grow their own armor. If you ever actually run into the like, there's a couple of them. The what the heck is it? I just gotta remember the name, and this is why I write things down, because it makes it so much easier. Yeah, the Zotar have to wear armor. Now understand, the Zotar are only 6 inches tall. So what they call armor and what you call armor may not be the same thing. Of course, they don't fight the same size animals.
All right, let's move on to another question here. Sovereign is asking, is it practical to gift aliens and Sasquatches fruit so that they eat and they eat that food, not you?
Well, Sasquatch won't eat you anyway. And the thing with aliens is this. If they're going to eat fruit, they're not going to eat you in the first place. Because the carnivores, they will eat fruit periodically, but if they want meat and you're available, so be it. So it doesn't hurt by any stretch. The Sasquatch, as you well know, Dave, will take it quite literally as a peaceful offering if you leave them fruit.
I saw a photo the other day. Apparently, Sasquatch absolutely loves peanut butter. And I saw a photo the other day which showed like a peanut butter jar that you could see that is because of the swirl at the bottom, it looked like a giant finger went right around the bottom and it pulled all the peanut butter out. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
For that one.
What's that?
You blame the youngins for that one.
Chris Mo is asking, what's the first alien race that arrived on Earth?
The Elfin. Well, in all fairness, the Zerzik did. The Zerzik arrived before anybody. Unless, let me just see here, like the Zerzik were the first ones that arrived, but Earth itself got here before the rest of them. And yes, I know that sounds absolutely bizarre, but what the heck?
All right.
Actually got here before any of the other races.
Jack is asking, which ET race is closest to humans in terms of personality?
Mobians. See, the thing is, the Mobians, the only functional difference is that they have global unity. That's the only functional difference. They've got the different personalities and what have you. But, and quite frankly, they are far more spiritually advanced than humans are. Which works out quite well from their standpoint.
Right. Nikki is asking, why would the SETI reticuli have thousands of beings that are octopi-like with tentacles, which can control a human similar to a Jinn attachment?
Well, Zeta Reticuli, first of all, is the home of the Greys, not of the...
No,
not of the
SETI. SETI.
Oh, SETI. Okay, my apologies. My apologies. Why would they have them?
Yes.
They evolved there?
I don't know. You're the expert.
Well, I mean, frankly, the whole issue there is that being the home world, and thank you very much for pointing that one out. But because me and geography get to be a little fun on occasion, but no, because of the way that they, it's not so much that they developed so they could control humans. It was just that they figured out by using the different bioelectric impulses, they can modify the way that sentient entities deal with things, which on their world makes it a whole lot easier to hunt. If you can take the fight out of somebody, it's a lot easier to deal with.
Okay, moving on. Moving on. Adrianos wants to know, how do I tell if aliens exist here in Towaoc, Colorado, Indian County?
Well, there's no one way to do it. Okay, as far as that goes. Like, if you're thinking there's a DNA test that can be done, not that I'm aware of. You literally, and the thing to keep in mind is just because somebody behaves a little odd does not automatically make them alien. Yeah, there are a lot of people that are just plain odd.
No. You shouldn't talk about Nicole that way. Nicole, are you alive?
Yeah, I'm here. I get enraptured when Keith starts talking
I know.
sometimes. Like, where's my pen? Like, I want to write some of this down, but then I'm like, no, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. Put the notebook away, Sakach.
There you go. G West is asking, is there any war history between the alien races here on Earth?
Oh, heavens, yeah. And it's one that is so well documented on, in our mythological and fantasy writings that it's absolutely bizarre. But the Elfid race and the Dwarvish race are literally at odds with each other a lot of the time. Although they do work together at this point. But in the past, they did not get along even remotely well.
Right. Teresa with 2 S's is asking, hi, Nicole. Tress Blair from Echo Whispers, just wondering if Keith has met the Eptora species.
Oh, I love Tress.
The problem is, I don't know if I've met them by that name. I'd have to know more about what the race was to know whether or not I had met them.
Well, maybe while she's listening, Teresa with 2 S's can give a little description in our chat room regarding that. Vinny is asking, is there any credibility to the airship sighting reported in the early 20th century? Airships, like, I think it's Zeppelins or something like that.
Well, the Zeppelin, obviously the Zeppelin is a human construction, but the Pleiadian and Thrazazian cigar-shaped ships at that time in history would have been seen as an airship. They wouldn't have recognized what they were at all. So I am not a history buff, but I would be inclined to say that, yeah, in all likelihood there is. But have I looked into it myself? No. Of course, I don't look on the computer to find out what the local movie is. So, All
right, Sovereign is asking, why do aliens leave their abductees' shoes or just one shoe behind? What's the message with that?
Not a message, it's an oversight. Usually it's a new collection crew. You go and pick somebody up, a shoe falls off, and they leave the shoe when they take the person. Because they're interested in the person, not the clothing. Or then again, if you come back and you don't have a shoe, the odds are somebody decided they want a souvenir.
But there's a lot of cases, though, Keith, where people have said that they've woken up in different clothing. They've woken up with men waking up with female clothing on and vice versa, pajamas. I mean, what are they doing? At least the aliens could do some laundry while they're up there.
Well, that's the complication, is they take them off, they put them aside, and they can't necessarily figure. Sometimes they have trouble trying to figure out what clothing belongs on who. I've even heard of cases where somebody got picked up and dropped off and returned to a different continent. No passport, no nothing, just there you are, you're now in the middle of Europe. And the reason it happens is not a message, it's just an issue of these guys are not 100% perfect. Given the numbers of abductions that take place where people get returned totally intact, totally oblivious to the fact they were taken, right, and everything where it belongs, you hear about the other ones, but the problem is that they're an extreme minority.
Right.
Dave, after was it last Friday I was on at the end of SOR and I went through my experience and I talked about how I sat down at my research desk and took off one shoe and then I saw a port that was right in front of my face. And how I walked around with just one shoe for like an hour after that. And the pictures I took, the shoe I had taken off, you can see it there on the ground and everything. And a few people pointed that out to me about the one shoe coincidence in, the high strangeness. And I've been pondering that since. So definitely weird. And I can't say why I didn't take off the other shoe, for close to 2 hours. Other than that, I was just like in this daze.
Well, and what shoe it was? Whether it was the left one.
I took off my right shoe and I kept my left shoe on.
Okay.
I'm almost sure. I can look at the pictures and update on that, but I'm more than sure I took off my right shoe. And then, I did. I kind of paced the house for a while. I was just so stunned and kind of in shock, and I was definitely scared for a little bit. And I guess where my mind started to wander was like, I knew they were here. They had visited the exact spot that I was at by the behavior of my dog. And of course they left me the gift, but in my head a little bit, I was like, oh, well, they just put the rocks there. They weren't actually here. But then I go back and forth with that. Like, no, maybe there were beings there present with me. I just couldn't see them. And honestly, it got a little hazy for a couple hours with me. And I don't know, like, now that you say, it might be like a new crew or something like that, or I know they influence, how you perceive things. So I've been spinning that around. If anything's coming to you by me talking about that, just feel free to share. You're not going to freak me out.
She wants some advice, Keith. She wants some advice.
Don't take your shoes off?
I just took mine off in sympathy.
Yeah, the funny thing is that the reason people end up with clothing in the wrong gender clothing is because most of the collectors, oddly enough, don't actually know that much about human sociology. So they don't know the apparel customs. And especially when you think that from my understanding, in human history, men wore most of what women wear. What women wear today, men wore first. Now, with that in mind, off-worlders looking at the socioeconomic evolution may still have troubles figuring out whether, and of course you look at the way some people dress anyway, you can see where the confusion may come.
All right, let's move on here to the next question on Spaced Out Radio, and let's go to Brett's question. If I reverse engineer Mobian Enlightenment, can I be one?
No. Can you do what they do? Yeah, but you're never going to be a Mobian.
Well, you just broke his heart there, Keith.
Oh, sorry. Grab the glue gun.
Terrible. Terrible. All right, let's move on. Denali is asking, are there 2-foot-tall, furry, gray, benevolent beings?
Yes. But we are not talking, now it depends. When we talk about gray, if we're talking about gray scaly, they're not exactly what I would call benevolent. But there are 2-foot-tall, relatively benevolent furry ones. Usually we refer to those as they're either children Mora would be the common ones.
All right, let's move on here. Off-World Adam is asking, is it true the Nazis have been in space since the 1940s?
Well, I can't speak specifically to whether. I mean, I can tell you this: mankind has been in space a lot longer than what they're telling you. I'm presuming he's talking about German technology.
I have no
They're
idea.
not the only ones that have had that technology for that long. See, there's a well circulated thought process that says that the Germans were in touch with off-worlders during World War II, which is accurate, at least from my understanding. The catch to it is so was every other major superpower, and a lot of the minor ones. But they weren't using off-world weaponry.
All right, we've got about 90 seconds here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Keith, Bob wants to know what's the deal with probing.
Well, how else do you get the inside, the inside organ scrapings and what have you, without cutting the skin? It's the easiest access point to get the most information.
Very true. Very, very true, my friend. All right, let's see if we could squeeze in one more here. And scrolling down. Princess Denali wants to know, what about grounding? Rubber soles are insulating. Do you think there's a connection?
There's a lot of humans that think that works. So I guess there's a connection amongst the humans, but it doesn't do a thing for the off-worlders.
Well, that's too
bad. Yeah, it is, but the real catch to it from that end is that the off-worlders, number one, the molecular configuration of rubber is not what slows them down. That's the biggest kick right there.
Right. All right. Well, you hold on, Keith. You hold on.
Absolutely.
Nicole?
Yeah.
You hold on as well.
I'm holding.
All right. Hold on here, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour here. We got 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. Another 30 minutes with R Keith Andrews, Nicole Sakach on the ET Connection. Then I'm going to bring you the SOR News Wire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio comes up right after this. All right, guys, I'm just going to run my dogs outside. You guys can chat with the YouTubers.
I'm just going to quickly go and grab a coffee, but that'll take me about 30 seconds.
All right, be right back, Nicole. It's just you and the YouTubers.
All right, I'm hanging out. I like it when they leave us alone. Oh, you guys, I can't believe I'm on Spaced Out Radio 2 nights in a row. It's like blowing my mind. It's been a long 24 hours. That's all I can say. Last night's panel was amazing. Tonight, I get to woo it up with R Keith.
Okay,
We got another one to go.
this is why I keep a 30-cup urn at home and on the go.
Gee West, I'll take that as a compliment, but just so everybody knows, I guess I did kind of seem like I was giving the 1-2 punches a little bit, but I think the YouTube crowd could kind of see after the terrestrial show ended, and like, I think Tim and I are on the same page. I think he's a good guy. It was nice to kind of hear him talk off the record, even after YouTube ended. And I went into the panel thinking one way, and I came out of the panel with a lot of respect for him and Sean Cahill. That was the first time I had ever met him. So it all ended very well. I was very happy with it. But no, I'm not going to back off. I'll ask those hard questions that nobody else wants to ask, or even the stupid ones that people are like, oh, we can't ask that. So what do I have to lose? I'll go for it.
Yeah, the catch in my case is, unfortunately, sometimes somebody will ask a question, it'll hit me sideways. Because, well, I've been through way too much, and I've yet to find a way to actually make it sound normal. And given the number of times I've dealt with it, like, the way my life has gone, I would not wish it on anybody. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun, a lot of fun with it. It's been a heck of a ride. But I tell you, somebody that can get lost on a one-way street, jumping into a starship to go to another planet, is a bit of a jump.
I have dreams. It's actually a recurring dream where, of course they started at the earliest that I can remember, like 3 years old. And it was pretty much like an advancement of kind of training. It's like I was taken to a location and I would have to complete certain tasks before I could move on to like this next level in the dream. And it's ultimately culminated in me flying a craft that I cannot see. And that's the closest I can say to being, or to having an on-board experience. Like I mentioned earlier, our pal Melinda Leslie talked about going on board a triangle. And yeah, and even from a dreamscape, and obviously I know I'm in a dream, or at least that's what I've been programmed to recognize as a dream. It's still, I have moments where I'm taken aback myself, and it's like as soon as I break that sort of concentration is when the dream will end, and it's like poof, gone. And it can be at various different points, but yeah. And this, I get the feeling that what I am manipulating is something very small. It's not one of these large crafts that we describe, even though it's transparent to me. Like I can tell it's there, but I can't see any details. And have you ever heard of anything like that, Keith? Or are these Are there small ships that are completely cloaked like that, inside and out?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what would you say I'm taking for a spin?
I'd be inclined to say, and this is going to sound really Hollywood style, but you're likely dealing with an Amazonian ship.
Ooh. I kind of envision it, and it's anybody who kind of follows, I guess, what I follow or what I speak about a lot. I go back to Rendlesham Forest case a lot, and Jim Pennison describes his little craft of unknown origin as being a 9x9 triangle-ish pyramidal, craft. It's got a rise to it, like a pyramid.
Right.
And he often says that the craft is too small. He gets the impression that, nothing was inside of it. It was unmanned, more of like a drone thing. And I've brought up a couple times, like chit-chatting with Jim or other people about Rendlesham Forest, that I'm like, no, man, I could fit inside that thing. You're talking about a 9x9, space. Like, I could totally be inside that thing. Where Jim Pennison is a really large man, I could see why he would
Hold
say,
on, guys. Here we go.
Nope.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate the time. I want to remind you that you could check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. We welcome back all of our terrestrial affiliates around North America, as well as digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Remember, you can check out our archives. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What do you got for us, Clam? What do you got? Flonnery. Flonnery is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on with the ET Connection. R Keith Andrews is here once again, and we love him here because he brings the woo full circle here on the show, along with special guest Nicole Sakach. How you doing, guys?
Just great, thanks. How about you?
Good. Let's continue with the audience questions. Jack is asking, is there a race that is the Men in Black, or are they a cyborg?
Whoa, try that again?
The Men in Black, are they an alien race, or are they some sort of cyborg?
Well, that sort of depends on which group we're referring to, which ones of the ones in Men in Black we're talking about. I'm trying to, like, it's been a while since I've seen Men in Black. If I recall correctly, there was a chap there that was definitively cybernetic. But there's a number of them that will use a number of the smaller races that will use humanoid robots, really. They're bipedal ships for maneuvering.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's see what else we have from the audience here for questions. Joe is asking, are aliens taking advantage of the mass culture here on Earth right now to walk amongst us? Great question, Joe.
There's a lot of them that are, like, there's a lot of different races that are trained to walk amongst you. Am I going to point them out? Not a prayer, as far as individuals go. But there are a lot of them that are actually trained, of the smaller races, as in the more human-sized, that are trained to walk amongst, to observe. Because that way they can get a better handle on the type of cultural things that need to be learned. It's kind of like reconnaissance, well, it is reconnaissance, but not from a military standpoint. Because you got to remember, one of the biggest things that the off-worlders are aiming at is educating people so they can become, so that the whole planet can become members of the galactic, the galactic consortium. They do want them, and it's not a question of control. It's a question of making sure that humans don't accidentally blow something up. Curiosity will do that quite readily in outer space.
All right, let's move on. Sovereign is asking, who do they abduct the most, and why do they target Germans for abduction?
Well, targeting Germans would be one racial group, one set of studies. As far as who get targeted the most, frankly, plants and animals get targeted more than humans. There isn't a nationality of humans that are targeted more than another. It all depends on who's researching what as to which group they're going after.
Well,
Frank, if you're looking to study a short bipedal polydactyl human, you're not going to go to Germany to find them. They do exist, but you won't find them in Germany. By the way, polydactyl simply means more than 5 fingers.
Makes sense. Keith, regarding alien abductions, all right, when people have them, a lot of people say they have signs that it's going to happen. They can feel when it's going to happen. For everybody, it's different. Why do we get these signs letting us know if it's going to happen?
Humans are taught you only have 5 senses and a rudimentary 6th. The reality is humans have senses that go beyond those 5 that you're told about. And it's an instinctive thing that falls under the sensing of the rudimentary 6th sense. So people, for lack of a better way of putting it, they simply know. You can feel the shift happening. In some cases, it's a question of temporal dissonance. You can feel a shift in the timeline, in the space around you. Humans have a normal sense of balance. Most of them do. Mine pretty much is a write-off, but you can sense when there's a shift in the air around you.
Right. And
when an off-worlder shows up in the area, it does create, in most cases, an electrical discharge.
All right, let's move on to the next question here. Bob is asking, do aliens really care about global warming?
No. See, the reality is global warming itself is a natural evolutionary process. Okay, it's not a question of it being something new, and mankind is certainly not responsible for it. That's the thing that people just don't get, or they don't seem to. But no, the off-worlders look at global warming as just the normal side of it. The normal routine of the planet.
Right. Jack is asking, do ET races enjoy similar things such as sports, music, art?
Absolutely. My first encounter with the off-worlders, or my first one on a benevolent level, they play a 3-dimensional version of wall ball. Right. The Nordics have a game similar to football. In medieval times, they used to play it here, where you would chase around basically it boiled down to a pig's head. Difference was the difference with that is the Nordics actually wear armor and carry their swords with them. Which means you don't necessarily get a broken arm, you end up with it getting cut off, but, you know, minor inconvenience with their technology. But yeah, they've got some interesting games.
All right, let's move on here on the ET connection with R Keith Andrews. And Jack is asking, I'm RH negative. Am I an alien hybrid?
RH negative simply, it's another, and this is one of the biggest fallacies. RH negative is a blood type, yes, but it has no more significance than being A positive or O negative or whatever other ones they've got. And it doesn't make you a better target for anybody picking you up, unless they are specifically looking for people with Rh negative blood, at which point you're on the chopping block. You know. But no, it is not an indication of alien hybridization.
Okay. Sovereign is asking, which races or collection of races is in charge of the cloaked craft in the sky that can manipulate weather?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, the Mobians can do it, but in charge of is a bit of the ones that actually play around the most with weather happen to be humans, and you can't really blame them. They're building an atmospheric generator. Okay, which is not entirely a surprise.
All right.
Like, a lot of the craft will end up, like the Muldocs, for instance, their ships affect the weather because it ionizes the air around them, making it really, really difficult. The Muldocs, by the way, are the ones that have the stadium-appearing ships. They kind of look like a partially constructed Roman stadium.
Okay. If you say, we will believe. R. Keith Andrews here on Spaced Out Radio on the ET Connection. Let's continue on with our audience questions. Teresa's back, and she says, the Aptora species are similar looking to the humans and are a peaceful race from the planet Sukurma, from where I come from. They are here to help the awakening.
Okay, well, I appreciate that because that helps a lot. Now I just got to go back through my database. But there's a couple of races that sort of fit that bill, and the answer to that, to her question, therefore, is in all likelihood the answer is yes. Because those, like the Mobians, you won't know them by looking at them. You know, if you take a look at them, they will look like humans. Normal size, normal appearance, and they are definitively taught to, if you will, behave like a human, aside from some of the aggression.
All right.
You'll find they're the closest thing to pacifists as you're going to get.
Keith, are there alien agents working alongside governments, like the U.S. government?
When you say agents, where? Like, are there aliens working in conjunction with some governments? The answer is yes. There's no question there at all. Well, technically, there's a question. You asked it.
In the sense of like the Eisenhower documents, where there's like an agreement for them to be here and do their thing, and they'll help us with certain aspects of our tech. Like, do you find validity in that?
As long as we stick to a couple of things. Number one, there is no agreement that I'm personally aware of where they trade off humans for technology. And the off-worlders just flat out won't hand over transportation or weaponry. The technology for those are not turned over. Same as they don't turn over power sources. Because mankind is not ready for them.
So do you think like the government has ever captured beings and like interrogated them and that's resulted in their death?
Absolutely. What they don't tell you is the side effect.
Which is?
I know of a couple of government installations that are no longer in existence where that occurred, and the retaliation was a little less than healthy for the people involved. Of course, bear in mind that with facilities like that, they don't tell you where they are. The humans won't tell you where they are to start with. So it's certainly not going to tell you that all of a sudden all the people on board were dead.
Does ufology even have a clue as to where these bases are? I mean, or these complexes? I mean, we all have our theories and we talk about like S4 out at Area 51 or, you know, these in mountain bunkers or underground bunker type facilities.
There are definitively some people that know. Before anybody goes there, don't even ask, because I'm just not about to bother trying to piece it together. I have trouble figuring where I am in my own city. That being said, you just don't reveal. It's kind of like pointing out who is a hybrid and who isn't. If you remember the witch hunts, that's just not good news for anybody.
Yeah, do you foresee anything like that in our future? Like for all us experiencers that have like come out of the experiencer closet, do you think it's unreasonable to think that, you know, with these pushes for some sort of government disclosure that it would ever be like a witch hunt scenario or, okay, let's bring it into our century here, like a concentration camp scenario where they would round us all up and, you know.
The logic behind that question, the answer is a definitive, in my opinion, absolutely. And here's why. Mankind is afraid of the unknown. They're curious as all get out, but they are absolutely terrified of the unknown. I mean, there have been countless cases where humans have opened fire and then asked, "Are you friendly?"
Yeah.
You know, now, I don't know, but from my standpoint, it's sort of an obvious issue. If somebody's shooting at you, you're not friendly. Or at least you're not going to be if you're on the receiving end.
Right. I've talked about this scenario in some experiencer circles, and there's some chatter about like there should be like we should form some sort of experiencer social rights group, you know,
Really?
where we could start to advocate for, you know, to protect ourselves against something like this.
That is an incredible can of worms. I don't think Dave wants us going down that rabbit hole.
That's something for after the show. After the show. Yes. All right. Let's go here and talk to, where's a good question here from our audience? Adrianos is saying, is Area 51 really underground bunker for an alien race living on Earth, existing with government people?
Well, first rule of thumb, don't ask me specific locations. I'm not going to give you an answer. But that being said, are there bases, underground bases, where humans and aliens interact with each other? Absolutely. And work in conjunction with each other.
All right, Brian wants to know about Valiant Thor. Do you think he was from Venus, and do you think he's ever coming back?
Somebody asked me that the other day. I'm trying to remember who the heck Valiant Thor is.
Oh, he was allegedly an alien with two other people, or alien species who lived on Venus, who traveled here, I believe in the 1950s, 1960s. They look very humanoid, except the ears were a little weird, almost Spock-like. Good-looking man.
Oh, okay. Well, given the fact that he was only here in the 50s, it's a good bet he'll come back. Okay, and due to the fact that Venusians are inherently, they basically look like good-looking humans, you know, on the whole. it would not be a shock. And of course, not having actually met the man, I can't say for certain where he was from. I'm probably the worst researcher on the planet, considering I don't research.
Very true. Very true. All right, let's continue on here with Spaced Out Radios. We only got about 3.5 minutes left with you tonight, Keith. Man, this went fast. Greg is asking, well, first off, GFGFGFGFG saying, go Leafs, go. We don't talk such hockey here. We like real hockey teams here, GFGFGFGFG. Real hockey teams here. By the way, how much dust is your chair collected on Yonge Street in Toronto waiting for that imaginary parade with the Stanley Cup? Yes, I will go there. I will go there. Greg is asking, can I become friends with Awara?
I don't see why not. I would recommend not meeting them face to face because they will take it to the challenge to slap you once. I mean, they'll only hit you once, but that's primarily because they don't beat a dead individual.
All right.
But they will take face-to-face, eye-to-eye contact as a challenge.
All right. And I think we got time for one more here. Sovereign is asking, Keith, do you know about rods, skyfish, and what are their functions?
Well, number one, rods are another race altogether. I'm actually in the process of documenting them in volume 2. Skyfish, I'm not entirely certain of the reference, but I know there are other races floating around that are just out of sync with Earth, like with our vibratory rate. So they would come across as being very transparent.
Keith, tell us about your book. Where can people find it?
That's the easy part. You can either on my YouTube channels, especially the ones that I've just been starting up, called Races of the Worlds. At the bottom, you'll find contact lists where you can get a hold of the book through me there. Right. And of course, getting a hold of Dave because he can get you in touch with me. I'm pretty certain he'll do that.
It's quite possible.
On Facebook.
That's unless you keep dropping your pen in front of the microphone.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Right.
Now we got an Islanders fan kicking on in here. Cripes. Just not a good night for hockey fans around here. Just not a good night. I appreciate you, Keith. And, it's always entertaining when we have you on. Hard to believe this is our final show with you for 2020. And we get to see you next year, my friend.
Yep, and I will be here.
Yeah.
Not be wearing bells, so don't get your hopes up.
Come on, put the bells on. We want to hear your jingle bells.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen.
Well, we appreciate you, my friend, and thank you so much for being a good part of this show, a popular part of this show. I know a lot of people don't understand it. They think it's weird. They think it's strange. They think it's woo. But for you, my friend, I know this is how you live your life. You're a good, honest man. You're a great father to your 2 boys, and we always love having you on Spaced Out Radio.
Well, I really enjoy being here. I find it hard to believe that it's been 5.5 years now.
And we just keep having fun.
Yeah.
We keep having fun. All right, my friend, you take care. Nicole, thank you for helping us out tonight. Always appreciate you.
It's always so much fun. I love these sessions with R Keith. I stay up for hours afterwards contemplating the life, universe, and everything that's important. Exactly. The answer's 42.
The answer's 42. Okay. If anybody wanted to know the answer tonight, it is 42. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. We're going to take this thing home right after this. You should see the love coming in for you in the chat room, my friend, in YouTube. They're loving you. Let's give R Keith a few claps, everyone. That's high quality woo. High quality woo right there.
I tell you, tonight was quick.
It did go quickly. Yeah. Woo! Is that my connection failing again?
No, you're sounding fine.
Your voice cut out a little bit there.
Yeah, that is yours. Yeah, yours is starting to suck again.
Yep. I've called them twice and they keep telling me that there's nothing wrong, and they gave me new lines and a new box, and they asked me how many devices I had, sucking Wi-Fi and stuff like that. And it's like, the next plan I can go to is a business plan. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
I'm on a business plan. They're not that bad.
Yeah.
They're faster.
Right. I just don't want to pay for a business plan.
I hear you. Hey, did you guys see the video of Arecibo collapsing?
I did.
That was incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. Just nut bar.
It
is sad to see it go. But I mean, the way those cables just snapped. Holy cow, that was intense.
No, that's like some Mothman prophecy cable snapping destruction right there.
I know. I used to be a Red Wings fan until they went all European. Actually, I quit cheering on the Red Wings after Bob Probert left for Chicago. That's the truth of it. But when I played hockey, I wore number 24 in honor of Bobby Probert. God rest his soul.
Hey, Dave, FAP says I need to get Cable Guy Matt over to my house.
You do need to get Cable Guy Matt. See, this is why you need to buy a T-shirt at the SOR Vault, because you can get your free piece of coaxial cable autographed by Cable Guy Matt. You cannot buy these in stores, people. Limit one per purchase. Just saying.
Well, the dodos at Consolidated Communication are out of options. So.
I'm telling you, I love those pieces of coaxial cable, man. I do. I think they're awesome.
See, this is where my technological background comes in really handy. I haven't even got a clue what it is.
Oh, they're useless cuts of coaxial cable that Matt autographed for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Every time I say coaxial cable, my Alexa bleeps.
Coaxial cable.
Nice.
Awesome.
Coaxial cable. All right, it stopped. It did it 4 times in a row.
I think your Alexa's on drugs.
I think she's been taken over by Skynet. But
or Skyhub.
Thank God, cylinder. She can't, death to all humans. So.
All right, guys. I got to cut you guys loose because I got to go do the news. You guys can hang out go in the YouTube chat. Those guys love you there.
I'll still be hanging out. I got to listen to the news. Yeah. I got to see what Captain Shirk cooked up for you.
Yeah, my hair's looking good tonight, though. I will say that.
As always.
Yeah, true. All right.
All right, y'all. Keith, I'll keep tuning into your YouTubes. You keep posting them.
Oh, yeah, I've got to do one tomorrow. I was supposed to do it today. I got to do another one on the races tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, guys, I got to hang up here. I'm on in like 30 seconds.
Okay, have a good one.
Good night. Good old R Keith. The man, the myth, and the legend all rolled into one. Big thank you to Bob Acrylic, Vinny, and Adam for the super chats tonight. Really do appreciate the support. Don't forget, do a little shopping at facebook.com/space the SOR vault. There it is. Here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Want to remind you, if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's hammer this. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the life-altering. How would you like to be fired on Twitter? Believe it or not, this is what happened to Vancouver Canucks anthem singer Mark Donnelly. Yes, Donnelly has long been a staple of Vancouver Canucks home games, but it appears he has sung the national anthem for the last time in Rogers Arena. Vancouver Canucks owner Francesco Aquilini took to Twitter responding to a Vancouver Sun report that the Canucks anthem singer would be performing at an anti-mask rally in Vancouver on the weekend. He tweeted out, "Hey, at Vancouver Sun, change the headline to former Canucks anthem singer. Hashtag wear a mask," wrote Aquilini. Yes. Gatherings of more than 50 people have been banned by public health order in British Columbia since March. In November, the province extended the ban to all social gatherings. The plan this weekend was BC Christmas Freedom Rally, is being organized in part by Ryan Kolbaba, who has spearheaded several other anti-mask rallies in Vancouver since July. The events have featured a variety of anti-vaccine speakers and decried what participants say is censorship and government overreach. Others have expressed fears that a vaccine would be made mandatory or argued that the fatality rate from the virus does not justify the economic effects of restrictions. Yeah. Oh, this is ugly. Along with Donnelly, the event includes a message from Santa Claus, singing speeches from vaccine opponent Ted Kuntz, and other stuff going on as well. Now, here's a scary incident down in Texas. A Texas high school player has now been charged with assault one day after attacking a referee during a game. Edinburgh High School senior Emmanuel Duran was charged with a Class A assault Friday morning after the Texas Rio Grande Valley newspaper covered this. His bond has been set at $10,000. Now, the incident happened during the second quarter of Edinburgh's 35-21 win over Far San Juan Alamo. Duran received a personal foul penalty for roughing the opposing quarterback, and another after an apparent exchange of words with the referee. After the referee, Fred Garcia, announced Duran had been ejected from the game, Duran charged from the Edinburgh sideline and blindsided Garcia, sending him sprawling to the carpet. Edinburgh players and coaches then restrained Duran before police escorted him off the field. Now, the Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District announced that it had decided to remove Edinburgh High School from the playoffs as a result of this incident. We extend a sincere apology to the referee and his family. And there are reports that Garcia a 27-year member of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, walked off the field to cheers from the crowd and was evaluated for a shoulder injury and concussion-like syndromes in an ambulance outside of the stadium. He did not immediately request any other sort of help, and this is now being looked into. Now, this kid, I will say this. Get him off the field. Don't suspend the team, but get him off the field. He's done. Any potential scholarship is gone for that kid, too. All right, here's a weird one from Rudolph Giuliani. If it pleases the court, I submit evidence that on December 2nd, while giving testimony at the Michigan House Oversight Committee hearing, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani farted multiple times, representing the President of the United States in an ongoing case to overturn unfavorable election results. Giuliani presented a string of witnesses and unfound claims at the hearing on Wednesday. Waving binders filled with legal equivalent of a comment section, the former mayor of New York was ready to move past the recent humiliations of giving a press conference in the parking lot to next to a sex toy store and a sweating hair dye. We all saw that. Well, yeah, he came for more. After suffering through 4 rounds of Giuliani and co., Michigan Representative Darren Camilleri ran down a litany of reasons, but apparently Giuliani started getting a little flatulent. Yes. The moment came at 4:11:41 mark of the full video if you want to catch it on YouTube, and it can be seen in the clip where all of a sudden, Isner quite clearly farts, and his co-counsel, Jenna Ellis, looks appalled. I don't know if we're going to make it through this story. As Giuliani dug deeper into his outrage, the smell of his flatulence apparently marinated in his vicinity, and it's easy to feel sympathy for Ellis. Moments later, Giuliani is asked to circle back and answer Camilleri's question. He deflects with some grandstanding and lets another fart go. Yes, in total, we believe that there was 4 farts. We're going to have to confirm this video. All the evidence is there on video. Ellis then shoots Rudy another look that says, if you fart again, I'm going to shove your head straight up the you-know-what. Well, apparently, we're going to have to look at this. We're going to have to get some analysis. Maybe Goofon will do that for us. Aliens may have once lived miles beneath the surface of Mars. Okay, here's the strange part. All of these people who have said they have been to Mars, Andrew Bashago, Randy Kramer, all said that they lived under the surface of Mars. Well, scientists now say life on the red planet is likely to have emerged deep underground as tons of thick ice melted. It could have been up to 4 billion years ago when the sun was about 25% dimmer than now. NASA's Perseverance robot, due to land in February, has instruments for collecting rock samples only up to 30 feet deep. If the findings are correct, the space agency will need a bigger drill for its Mars missions. Single-cell organisms began thriving on Earth when it was much colder than now, possibly due to insulating gases and magnetic solar storms providing some heat, or Giuliani's ass. The same may have been happening on Mars with radioactivity decay causing warp to melt the bottom of the ice into lakes of the water deep below the surface. Dr. Luendra Oya of Rutgers University says at such depths, life could have been sustained by hydrothermal activity and rock-water reactions. The subsurface may represent the longest-lived habitable environment on Mars. That is actually kind of cool. Very kind of cool. Now it all of a sudden makes you wonder if all of those guys are right, saying that they went to Mars. I don't know. Move over Black Panther and the cryptid behind it. There's now a white cougar in the limelight. Photographs, beautiful photographs, have surfaced of this white cougar, a ghostly young male striding through the forest of Sierra dos Oreganos National Park. I apologize, I butchered that, in Brazil's Atlantic Forest. Taken in 2013, this cat is just strolling, maybe looking for some food, maybe another beautiful white cat to see what she's doing. Maybe she wants to go on a date. It's a wild cougar with leucism, a genetic mutation that turns most of the body white. Shows you how rare it is as it goes through that. All right, but this cat is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous when you look at it. Really is. And if you see a picture, it's because of the melanism. The cat has none. It's missing it. Very, very rare. It occurs in only 14 of the 40 known cat species on the planet. Go check it on out. It is well worth it. The solar system's two largest planets are on course to collide in an exceedingly rare event not seen since the Middle Ages. On December 21st, Jupiter and Saturn will become so close together that they will look like a double planet, a conjunction that will appear to us on Earth like one super bright point of light. Alignments between these two planets are rather rare, occurring once every 20 years or so, but this conjunction is exceptionally rare because of how close the planets will appear to be to one another. Patrick Hartigan, astronomer at Rice University, says, "You have to go all the way back just before the dawn of March 4th, 1226 to see closer alignment between these two objects visible in the night sky. The incredible phenomenon has been known historically as the Christmas star, otherwise the Star of Bethlehem. In fact, it's theorized by many that the fabled star in the story of the three wise men could have been a rare triple conjunction between Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. Hoping to catch a peek of this great conjunction yourself? All you have to do is go outside if it's clear." Yeah. By the way, it won't happen again until March 15th, 2080. Yeah. I don't think any of us, or very few of us, will be alive listening to this show in 2080. I'd be 107. There's no way I'm making it to 107. Anyways, a group of young men claiming to be Christians have posted a video of themselves tearing down a mysterious monolith that had appeared atop a California mountain and replacing it with a cross. The monolith had been built near the town of Atascadero and sparked huge interest after the appearance of a similar silvery metal-faced monolith that had been discovered in the desert of Utah. The original monolith, which attracted hundreds of curious sightseers, garnered headlines around the world, was also destroyed by visitors who were captured taking it down and carrying it away by an observer on a mobile phone. Now, this monolith in California had a similar fate. In video, which was live streamed and posted online, the group of young men drive from Southern California to tear down the structure. Under cover of darkness, they hike up to the structure and tear it down while chanting, "Christ is King." They then erect a homemade wooden cross in its place and drag the remains of the monolith down the mountain to their car. During the video, the men also make offensive comments and drink substantial quantities of high-energy drinks, while also referencing Donald Trump and QAnon conspiracy theorists as well. The vandalism, though, has angered local officials. "We are upset that these young men felt the need to drive 5 hours to come into our community and vandalize the monolith," said Mayor Heather Moreno. "The monolith was something unique and fun in an otherwise stressful time." Terrible that they did that. A dog that went missing from her owner's Alabama backyard has turned up 3 weeks later when the canine decided to wander into a Walmart store and found her owner working at a checkout line. Danielle Robinette, a customer service association at the Walmart store in Dothan, said she was baffled when a black and white dog wandered into the store. "I was like, what in the world is happening? I'm a huge animal lover, so I just followed her, and she ran up to the register number 6. The cashier at number 6, June Roundtree, who was able to solve the mystery. The canine was her missing dog, Abby." How cute is that? Now, Roundtree said Abby had vanished from her backyard 3 weeks ago, leaving her collar behind. She said she and her husband had been searching for the dog, but were unable to find any sign of their missing pet. "I called her name and she came," Roundtree said of the reunion at Walmart. "I bent over and hugged her. I was completely lost. Just completely lost it then. Of course you would. I would too. I couldn't speak. I was in complete shock and just couldn't believe it." Roundtree said the Walmart store is more than a mile from her home. She said she has worked at the location for a decade, but never brought her 4-year-old dog Abby inside. She said the canine might have recognized the store from times when she would bring the dog to the store's parking lot and the woods behind the business. Never in a million years did I think she would show up at Walmart, Roundtree said. Robinette said she was equally shocked by the outcome. It's a beautiful thing. It was so very overwhelming. I was in disbelief. I thought she was joking. You know what? That is a great story. Great story. And finally tonight, firefighters in Connecticut made a late-night visit to a home. Why? Because they had to rescue a cow. What did this cow do? Well, it escaped from its pen and then decided to belly flop into a resident's backyard swimming pool. The Bethlehem Volunteer Fire Department said crews were called out Thursday for a large animal rescue, and they arrived to find a cow had fallen through the cover and into an in-ground swimming pool, was now stranded in the water, could not do its typical backstroke to get out. Bethlehem firefighters in cold water rescue suits entered the pool and cut the animal free from the cover, and it assisted it in swimming to the shallow end. The cow was brought to the edge of the pool where firefighters used ropes and slings to guide the animal up the stairs and out of the water. The bovine was not injured and the returned home to its owner. There was no fines. It was not arrested. And the cow jumped over the moon as well. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because the audience participation we love around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Where are we here? If the government doesn't want us talking aliens, what should the discussion be about? Aliens. Start with dirty filth. How tasty each species is. Alex, I think they want us talking aliens. Actually, they want us talking about it wrong, though. Let's see. With Jeff, what terrifies governments? I would suggest that their greatest concern is alien infiltration and manipulation of individual minds, actions, sensitive operations, technology, and weapon systems. Lack of control, gaps in understanding the alien mind and agendas. IOW. What does IOW mean? If aliens, UFOs aren't science and they're not part of anybody's myths, etc., ultimately the issue is dead in the water. Let's see. Greg, we should be asking, why are they here? Why travel so far and not formally introduce themselves? That is a bad sign to me. 13 ballads. Mythical dragons are not science, but they are a part of many nations' traditions, cultures, souls, myths, and folklore. So in case of the UK government via its National Education Board, there is a government dollars for talks in primary school classrooms about dragons. Super Sleuth, let's not all claim them to be aliens. What about people from other worlds, cosmic cousins, spaced out neighbors, the progenitors? Linda, I don't care what they want. I want a lot of things from them. Oh, she may need a date there. You never know. Mary, I hate when I have a typo. Oh, I didn't see your typo. She erased her previous tweet. Citizen, aliens provide a possibility of God. Clay, sir, bottoms up. Chatterific boo, you know. Area 51 has a visitor center for blasphemy. JK, it is the future. Hello, my uncle's on the project. I've 8 aliens, spell Massachusetts. I think this guy's making fun of me. Graham, probes, aliens, and probes. Okay. Marty, delivering a fantastic clown tonight. The government can go to hell. We can discuss whatever it is we want to discuss, be it aliens, Bigfoot, or Aunt Emma's apple pie recipe. I know it is as freedom of speech. Let's move on. Robin, I don't think it should matter. We can discuss anything about aliens that we would like to. Wayne, facts, because as we know, they ain't going to tell us anything. Dennis, aliens are illegal according to the government. Alex, I think the government wants us talking aliens, actually. Davey, they want us to think of them as aliens flying in and out of our solar system from far away rather than beings that share our space and our planet with us, and always have done. Kira, just like the government just changed the word and used the term multidimensionals. Double Bobby, just call them undocumented astronauts. Melinda, they're here. Dave, the first rule of discussing aliens clubs is don't talk about discussing aliens club. Nikki, do they taste like chicken? Oh, we'd have to ask R Keith that. Barry, the most important aspect involving EBEs is, did he get that term from Transformers? I think he did. Remember? It's not Megatron. It's EBE1. Remember that? EBE1. Anyways, the most important aspect involving EBEs is their power and propulsion technology, as such tech could dramatically improve the human condition in a very short time. Maybe it could get me to Vegas, where I want to go party, because I am in need of a party. And that's it for the thought of the day. We'll do it all again tomorrow on Facebook and Twitter. And we'll read your responses on here as well. We got about, 2 minutes left. I just got to say this. The show went really fast. Really fast. It's been a long week on this show, and it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And make sure you check out all of our archives, if you haven't already, by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, because that's what we like around here. We love that support. We really do. Because if it isn't aliens, it's aliens. I'm going to be working on a story this weekend as for our Canadian listeners. This could affect you. And I've got an update to a story I wrote a few months ago regarding the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And do not give your UFO sightings to the RCMP. Why? Because all your information heads to NORAD. I've got that confirmed. Got it confirmed. Confirmed. And I'm very happy about that. Very happy about that. And I'll write it up this weekend so that way everybody can read it. And I'll put it at spacedoutradio.com. And I may send it over to uapresearch.com as well. Thank you to R Keith. Thank you to Nicole for joining us tonight. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire. And all of you for hanging on out. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Special thanks to everybody in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, Space Travelers Club, and our website, and all the Snarkers and Snarkettes on Twitter at hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. Good show. Good show. Good show, everyone. Good show, good show, good show, good show, good show. R Keith and Nicole. Do 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 do. Mm-hmm. Y'all. All right. Be with you guys in a second. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back here, guys. Yes, we own the night. We own the night. Dave Scott, Space Out Radio. We own the night. Dave Scott, Space Out Radio. We own the night. Right back. I'm Dave Scott, Space Out Radio. Dave Scott. Do, 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 do. All right, where are you? Yep, almost there. Hold on. No. Hold on. I got to bring you guys up so I can see you. There we are. Hey, Cashew. Hi, Tina. How are you? All right. There, there. Excuse me. High overbuilt automotive? I am great. You know how I know? Because my mom told me. That's how I know. business partner is texting me, how'd the show go? It went good. I'm like so behind tonight. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm totally behind. Cool. I like it when the coyotes make noise around my place. Usually means there's a kill somewhere, like they got a deer or something. But either way, it sounds kind of cool. That's the mark on that one. There we go. All right, I'm good. You're chatting, Ron. I'm working. If you want to go to sleep, all you got to do, because there's no volume, if you're tired, you walk away from your computer and you walk away. No, I won't tweet you. I won't tweet you. Busy. Tweet me. Tweet me. All right, everyone, time to get your verification code ready, because it's almost that time once again where we must verify whom we are and what we're all about. Remember, 6 digits, not 7, so 8675309 will not work. And it was a horrible song back in the 80s, too. So let's just remember that. And, oh, let's see here. Where are we going? Oh, yeah, we're going right here. So we're going to just attach this file. And our verification code for tonight, people, is 886902. 886902 is your verification code. Verify wisely, because we want to make sure that you are verified. Too many digits, no dots, Jack. I am tired tonight. I gotta work in the morning, too. I totally have to work in the morning. That sucks. Hope that's kind of like my job. No, I will not dress up as Santa Claus, because Santa Claus lives in the North Pole. I'm in British Columbia. I'm about 3,800 miles south of him, or 2,500 miles. Okay, maybe 2,000. No, not a Santa hat. No. No, 8675309. Jenny's phone number was a horrible song. Horrible. Much like Len Steal My Sunshine. Terrible song. No antlers. I'll get a picture for you tomorrow, Jack. Watch my Instagram. Excuse me. Bomber, I'm going to be like our prime minister and say, sometimes you're just asking for too much. If he was an alien, most of us wish he would go back. Except Ron. I think Trudeau's a flat earther, much like Ron is. You know what? But I could reach for my bed and get a pillow. That would be really cool. Just saying. That would be really, really cool right about now. Good night, gorgeous Teresa. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all of you tuning in this weekend. Or this week. See, I can't even, my brain's not even thinking. My brain's not even thinking. I don't hate A Christmas Story. You're probably the type of guy, Jack, who doesn't even like Bill Murray. I'm worried about you now. Anyways, all of you have a great weekend. Remember, my blog comes out usually every Saturday night or Sunday morning, so make sure you check in on that. I want to say thank you for an amazing week this week, and all of you were incredibly awesome. Thank you for supporting this show the way you do. If you've ordered T-shirts, I will be getting to, they're in the midst of being printed right now, so you should be getting them pretty soon. And much love to all of you. I will see you on Monday night. We're going to have a lot of fun, as we normally do. We'll put the schedule up. Don't forget about Michael W. Hall on Sunday on our Spreaker channel. So I will chat with you guys here in a little while. Well, yeah, Monday. But much love to all of you. Thank you for the support. Take care. Have a great weekend. Good night.